Hey guys, welcome back to 22 Lima Romeo. I'm Jeramie, and today we are bringing you the May 2025 NRL22 Monthly Course of Fire. This Course of Fire is kind of special to us because we have 5 kids, and our 5 kids designed the 5 stages that you guys are going to be presented with this month for the Course of Fire. So we really hope you enjoy it, and we hope that the kids don't challenge you too much because they came up with some really creative stages. Now, this is the first match of the 2026 season. With that being said, there are some new rules, so you should definitely visit NRL22.com and check out the new rules for the new season. There are some minor modifications to some existing rules, and we added a new division, semi-auto. So, welcome to all the 1022 shooters. You guys are competing in your own division, and we think that that's really going to allow you guys to shine. Some other modifications that we made to rules were particularly aimed at the airgun community. We think that you guys were kind of underrepresented, and we wanted to make things a little more equitable for you within the league. Now, all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get out to the range, get this thing filmed, and see what you guys think.
First up for the May Course of Fire, we have Stage 1. It's Fishin time. We have a 2-inch on a single hanger at 92 yards. We're going to start standing, rifle at the high ready with all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, engage the targets with 3 shots each from all available props and positions. You may select the prop and position order, but all must be used. Available props and positions are left side of the tire, right side of the tire, chair seat, and 2-gallon bucket. Note, a mandatory mag change must be conducted after the first shot but before shots 11 and 12. If a mag change is not conducted, then shots 11 and 12 will not count. We'll start in this month's Course of Fire. Let's go ahead and get the most difficult stage out of the way. For my gear, I'll be using the Armageddon Gear Medium in heavy fill. I'll have my optics set at about 16 power, and for this one,
I'm ready.
I'm going to take the option to use the tripod for this stage. Approaching this stage using the tripod is what I feel like the best option, because it gives you a way to anchor the stock of your rifle to the ground through the leg of the tripod. Now, because you're on a stack of tires, you're not going to get all the wobble out of the reticle. However, that tripod really does help minimize it because that is a relatively small target at that range, especially from such a wobbly prop. Now, because we have to take 6 shots from the tire, I feel like it's really important to try to maintain that stability, and I feel like the only way to do that is by utilizing the tripod for this stage. Now, I could have abandoned that when I transitioned to the chair, but I was already in the rhythm, and I think it's good to get practice with the tripod because at X matches, sometimes your tripod is your best friend. Now, things got a little squirrely when I got down to shoot from the 2-gallon bucket using the tripod. I really had to fold up tight to make that position possible. But as long as you drag that tripod in a good direction and you've got a good firm grip on it, as you guys can see, that reticle really does settle right down and it allows those shots to happen naturally without too much effort. That was a difficult way to start this month's Course of Fire. Let's hope the kids give us a little grace as we continue on. Let's get into the next one. Next up, we have Stage 2, Home Improvement. We have 2 2.5-inch targets on single hangers at 90 yards, placed 5 yards apart, and 2 3-inch targets on double hangers, placed 7 yards apart at 100. We're going to start standing, rifle at the high ready with all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, engage the targets in the following order and manner. From any rung on the ladder, near left with 2 shots. From the 5-gallon bucket, far right with 3 shots. From a different ladder rung, far left with 2 shots. Then back to the 5-gallon bucket, near right with 3 shots. Restrictions: no rung may be repeated.
Okay, recording. recording.
Next up, we have a stage that seems to bend the mind, but there is definitely a pattern to the target sequence.
Ready.
Stand by. Engage.
For my gear, I'll be using the Armageddon Gear Medium and the wee bad strapless Behemoth. I'll have my optics set at about 16 power. This stage on its face seems like it is going to be very confusing to shoot. However, we're only going to shoot the left targets from the ladder and the right targets from the bucket. We just have to switch back and forth between the two props. Now, I think the best option for this stage is to use holdovers. So dial for that 90 yards, and then just use holdovers for the 100-yard targets. It seems simple enough and worked out pretty well. I think it's important to find a place where you feel most comfortable on the ladder and shoot from those two rungs. So if you feel most comfortable from the top of the ladder, maybe that's what you should do. If you feel most comfortable from the bottom, that's what you should do. But the bucket is one of those things that I think it's just an awkward height for everybody, except for those kids who can fold up and lay flat on the ground, like my daughters. Unfortunately, that does not work for me, so I got to use some rear support with that wee bad strapless Behemoth. That was another tricky one. Let's go ahead and get into stage 3. Next up, we have stage 3. The bugs are back. We have a 1/4 to 3/4 on a KYL rack at 43 yards, and a 1 and 1.5 on a double hanger at 62. We're going to start standing, rifle at the high ready with all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, engage the targets in the following order and manner. Prone, KYL rack, large to small. Then from the center blocks, far 2 shots each, large, then small. Then back to prone, KYL rack, small to large. Note this is the time stage where you earn 0.1 bonus point per second remaining after the required round count has been fired.
Large to small, 4, then small to large.
All right, next up for stage 3, it seems like the kids have given us a little bit of grace.
Large to small, then small to large.
And we're going to have some prone shooting. For my gear, I'll be using the MDT Skypod. And for my bag, I'll be using the Armageddon Gear Medium. I'll have my optics set at about 20 power to start.
Nope.
And then I'll back that off for those remaining targets.
Now I'm ready.
Stand by. Engage.
The wind was being a little tricky at the range today, so I needed to hold a little more wind to the right than I expected. But I was able to see that second shot in flight, and that gave me my wind call for the 1/4 inch.
Having to hold 3/10 right.
Now transitioning up here to the top of the center blocks, I'm going to use my knee for rear support for the stock of the rifle. This is a really good technique that has bought me a lot of impacts over the years. If this is something that you can do, I highly recommend that you try it out. If this is not something that you can do, I'm sorry, but this is a fantastic method of gaining some stability. Now we're going to go back to the prone position, except this time we have to shoot the targets in reverse order. This was a nice reprieve from the difficulty of the first 2 stages. Let's see what the kids have in store for us for stage 4.
Yeah, I had to hold 3/10 right. The wind switched.
Next up, we have stage 4, rain barrels. We have a 1 inch on a KYL rack at 60 yards, a 1.5 and 2 on a double hanger at 75, and a 2.5 and 3 on a double hanger at 100. We're going to start standing rifle at the high ready with all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, take a position on the 55-gallon barrel and engage the targets with 1 shot each from far to near, large to small. Then ascend the rooftop and engage the targets with 1 shot each, near to far, small to large. Restrictions: no bipods or a part of your body or gear may touch the ground or the rooftop supports.
Okay.
Rolling right on into stage 4. I really wanted to use a bipod on this one, but my wife reminded me that my daughter forbid it.
Stand by. Engage.
So for my gear, I'll be using the Armageddon Gear Medium and the Weebad Strapless Behemoth. I'll have my optics set at about 16 power. Now, as we build into position on the 55-gallon barrel without the bipod, I feel like the best way to gain the stability that I'm looking for is to apply quite a bit of pressure with my support hand onto the top of the optic, forcing it down into the sand of that medium. I feel like that gives me the most stability that I can really look for when building into a position like this. Now, I do use the Weebad Strapless Behemoth as a rear support bag to try to increase the stability in that reticle, because those can be deceptively small targets at those ranges. Now, truth be told, these ranges were a little further before we toned them down a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. This is what we're all shooting.
Off the left.
Now, as we transition over here to the top of the rooftop, I'm going to build into position using that Weebad Strapless Behemoth, again, as a rear anchor point for the stock of the rifle. And you'll notice that that reticle is much more stable. This is just a great shooting position, and I like shooting from rooftops because they are so stable. At least, most of the ones that I've shot from are. The shot sequence on this stage was not too tricky. She likes to keep things simple. Let's go ahead and get into stage 5. Wrapping up this month's course of fire, we have stage 5, Late Night Campfire. We have a 1 inch on a single hanger at 72 and a 1.5 and 2 on a double hanger at 75. We're going to start standing rifle at the high ready with all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, engage the targets in the following order and manner: prone, near, with 2 shots. From the second rung on the left, far, small to large. From the fourth rung on the left, far, small to large. From the fourth rung on the right, far, large to small. And finally, from the second rung on the right, far, large to small. Note, if you're unable to reach the fourth rung, use the third rung. Wrapping up this month's course of fire, we have our 5th and final stage, which is a pyramid stage. For my gear, I'll be using the MDT Skypod and the Armageddon Gear Medium in heavy fill. I'll have my optics set at about 16 power. For some reason, starting the stage off by double tapping that first target made me kind of want to double tap all the targets, but that is not what we're supposed to do on this stage. So try to remember that you only have to fire 1 shot at each of the far targets from the 4 positions on the rungs of the pyramid. Finding solid positions to build on the pyramid is something that does take a little bit of practice. However, we've had a lot of practice as seasoned competitors shooting from this pyramid because it has been in play for a couple of years now. And I feel like this is one of the best props that we can use for positional training. It just offers so much versatility in position building and shot engagement. If you don't have one of these, you should highly consider building one. It's just one of those tools that's going to elevate your game. Now, moving through these 4 positions on the pyramid, it would be relatively easy to get tripped up in the target shooting sequence, because once you transition to the right side of the pyramid, you do have to change the way you're shooting the targets. We switch which target we shoot first. So it's important to pay attention to that when you're writing your dope card, or when you're reviewing the course description before it's your turn to shoot the stage. Now there is a little bit of rhyme and reason to the way this stage is shot. We're supposed to start the campfire with the 2 shots at the beginning, and then as time goes on, the campfire builds, and then as the night wears on, campfire dies. Hence, moving up the left side and down the right side. I felt like that was an excellent course of fire and a great way to start the 2026 season. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up.
Good course of fire, kids. All right, guys, well, that is a wrap for the May 2025 NRL22 Monthly Course of Fire, the inaugural match for the 2026 season. Thanks, kids, for putting that together. We really do appreciate the work that you guys put into it. If you guys enjoyed that Course of Fire, leave us a comment and let us know. If you didn't enjoy the Course of Fire and you thought it was a little too spicy, just send Dom an email. Let him know about that. We're going to go ahead and pack up our stuff and get out of here. But before we do, I'd like to ask you guys to do us a huge favor. Reach down there, click that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to share these videos with your shooting buddies. Thank you guys again. We hope to see you out on the range.